Hello, everyone, and welcome to another TrueFire Live teaching session. And we are incredibly excited today to have a very special guest with us. Brooks Robertson is here with a teaching session on how to get started playing fingerstyle. Great topic. This is going to be a lot of fun. Brooks is widely known for his jaw-dropping fingerstyle technique and his versatility on the acoustic guitar. He was mentored by legendary Buster B. Jones. He's since carved out his own unique voice, blending influences from Chet Atkins, Tommy Emmanuel, Merle Travis, and beyond. And he's not only a killer performer, he's also a fantastic educator. I've had the fortune to work with Brooks many times in the studio here, and he is a fantastic educator. Deep musical insights, just like his ability to break down very complex things in a very easy to understand way. So today's stream is a chance to hang out, hear some amazing playing, learn a few tricks from one of the best in the fingerstyle game. Just a little housekeeping before I turn it over to Brooks. Drop any questions that you may have for him in the chat here. And, we will be taking some Q&A breaks throughout the show. If you have a guitar handy, pick it up and let's play along. I think Brooks has got some things in mind to try to help you break into the fingerstyle game, which would be awesome. And as always, let us know wherever you're chiming in from in the chat as well. And without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to the man. Well, let's welcome Brooks on.
Hey,
hello.
Tommy. Hello.
How you doing, man?
I'm doing well. I'm so happy to be a part of this stream today and get to talk about fingerstyle a little bit and answer some
Absolutely.
questions. Yeah, like you were just saying, maybe show some people a few tips and tricks. And if I can get anyone started on fingerstyle, that's a huge success in my book. So I'm really happy to be here. I think what I'll do is just play a tune to get it kicked off. This is not one I'm going to teach, but it's a beautiful tune. It does demonstrate some of the things I'll talk about, though, some of the techniques. This
Great.
is a tune that was written by my teacher, Buster B. Jones, and it's a tune that he wrote dedicated to Chet Atkins, one of his big heroes. And this is called A Walk in the Park. All right, here we go. That is a walk in the park from the wonderful Buster B. Jones. I was down in drop D, so let me tune back to standard and we can get started on some finger picking together. Great. So wonderful to be here with you, talking about fingerstyle a bit. And what is fingerstyle is a question that is a very great question. I get that a lot. Fingerstyle to me is really about a technique we're using with our picking hand. In my case, right hand, because I'm a right-handed player. But fingerstyle is all about using your fingers on your picking hand to play the strings, to pluck the strings, to strike the strings, as opposed to using, for example, just a flat pick. Okay, nothing against a flat pick in any way, but we're going to be using fingers, thumb, index, middle, ring, maybe even pinky. To play fingerstyle, you really just need thumb and one finger. You could do a lot with thumb and one finger, thumb and index, thumb, index, middle. So we're going to work on a few techniques together throughout the next hour or so, where I'm primarily going to show you about using thumb, index, middle, and ring finger. But just know that there are all kinds of approaches to fingerstyle. And well, what genre is fingerstyle? To me, again, it's a technique that can be applied over just about any genre you want. There's country fingerstyle, there's fingerstyle jazz, there's Brazilian fingerstyle, there's classical guitar, which is a form of fingerstyle, flamenco guitar. Okay, you could play pop and use a fingerstyle technique. You can play blues and use fingerstyle. So it's really just an approach to how you're going to be picking and playing, especially with the right hand. And you may have heard too of hybrid picking. That's where you're kind of in between, using a pick and using your fingers. So a lot of people will hybrid pick in some situations, like thumb and index hold the pick, maybe middle and ring, or even pinky help do the picking. So I can talk about a few important things here with the pick I use. So let's talk about picks for a minute. You could do a lot with just hybrid picking, as I said, like hold a flat pick between thumb and index, and then use these, some combination of these, to actually pluck the strings. Totally possible. Um, you can also just play without any kind of pick or anything. You don't need a pick, or in particular a thumb pick. You don't need one to play fingerstyle, but you can use one. This is a thumb pick I got right here. And this type is made by a company called Fred Kelly. They make all kinds of picks and all kinds of thumb picks. This one's called a slick pick, is the name of the model. It's a heavy gauge, um, and I really like the heavier picks in terms of the tone and the feel of them. And it's just a regular size. So this is made out of a material called Delrin. Thumb picks come in all different shapes and sizes and designs and materials. Okay, again, it's not mandatory, but it definitely is common in some ways of playing, especially the thumb picking kind of boom chick, Chet Atkins, Merle Travis style. It's very common to use a thumb pick. But I'm just putting that out there. You could work on the things we're going to do together with a thumb pick, without a thumb pick. Some people use their thumbnail. So let's talk about nails for a moment, fingernails. Um, I'll tell you what I use and then talk a little bit about some other common things. So you can see these really long nails I have here, hopefully. Don't be alarmed. These are my fingernails, and I go to a nail salon and I get acrylic put on top of them, okay, to extend it out even further. And they're quite thick. They're really durable. It's like having a pick on every finger. So I do get asked about this quite a bit, with fingernails. So what I do, once again, I use acrylic fingernails. I go to the nail salon, I get them done. If you are a professional musician, you can get a tax deduction there with your fingernail expenses, which I do. Um, I get the index, middle, ring, and pinky finger. Now, you don't even need to have fingernails to play fingerstyle. A lot of great players don't even use fingernails at all. They have calluses, like Tommy Emmanuel, for example, or my friend Joe Robinson. They don't really use much fingernail. Other players use their natural nails. Some classical players will even use ping pong balls cut and glued to their fingernails. So it is a tool of the trade. Some people will even use finger picks. Just be aware of that. I would say if you're getting into it, um, it's good to try a few things out. Try playing with no fingernails. Try growing them out your natural nail. Okay, maybe try getting a few finger picks. So that's just a little bit into what's going on with this hand. I use the thumb pick, I use acrylic fingernails. So let's go ahead and kind of dive into just doing a little bit of playing together. I'm in standard tuning, and one of the first things I'm going to talk about is right hand position or picking hand position, okay? And most everything I'm showing you today is really the way I learned as well from my teacher Buster B. Jones. So I remember early on Buster telling me, I'll use my nail file here to show you a line. I remember a lesson early on with Buster. He said, okay, imagine a diagonal line across the strings in this orientation. He said, when you go to play fingerstyle, your thumb should be on the upper part of that line, your fingers on the bottom part, okay, as you play. This really helps keep the thumb and the fingers out of each other's way. Okay, so when I look down as a right-handed player, typically my thumb is always to the left of my fingers. I try to avoid getting it back here on the inside of my hand because we're going to be doing upstrokes with the fingers, downstrokes with the thumb. You really want to keep those two players, if you will, out of each other's way. Okay? And I find that when I'm in this good positioning instead of this, there's a whole lot less tension. I feel a lot more relaxed, which is good when I'm playing slow, when I'm playing fast, when I'm playing soft, when I'm really digging in. It helps to be relaxed with your right hand. Okay, so keep that in mind, the positioning. So when you look down, your thumb, if you're a right-handed player, your thumb will be to the left of your fingers. And let's see, I want to mention one more thing about the thumb that I learned from Buster B. Jones. He was always telling me to try not to bend this knuckle on the thumb. When you play, he said, don't so much strike the string by bending your knuckle, but keep your thumb straight or a little bit rounded and you play down through the string. This way you can use your whole muscle of your thumb back here. All right? So keep that in mind as we go along. Your hand position, your thumb. I used to go to the extent of practicing in front of a mirror to make sure I was doing it right because it takes a little bit of practice to get used to that. So let's go ahead and dive into one technique that I think is great for anybody to learn, and that is about Travis picking, named after Merle Travis. Okay, this is all about alternating bass style, sometimes called thumb picking, sometimes called Travis picking, sometimes called boom chick. And this is the way that I really got into playing fingerstyle from Buster B. Jones, is he got me set up on playing a lot of different finger picking patterns. Okay, and a lot of them revolve around the alternating bass. So let's talk about alternating bass for a minute. I'm going to assume you've never done this, okay? So I'm going to give you the explanation from scratch here. And there's a lot of ways to approach this. I'm just going to go in with a way that I think works well. So let's start with like a G chord, okay? G major. When I'm playing it there in this way, the root's on the 6th string. So I think of this as what's called a 6th string root chord. There's my G on the 6th string, okay? So first we're going to look at what the thumb does when you have a 6th string root chord. I'm going to do this. I'm going to start with my thumb on the 6th string, the root. I'm going to go to the 4th string next, the D string, then the 5th string, then the 4th string. Okay, that's one bar. And I'm not really doing a rest stroke. I'm not resting my thumb on the next string or anything. I'm just playing up through the string, jumping to the next string I need to play. So I'm not really leaving my thumb on any string like a rest stroke there. So that was a one bar pattern. It's 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'll just do that for 15 seconds. You can try if you want to. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right now my fingers are on the top 3 strings, but they're not really doing anything. Just the thumb. Okay, so that's a one bar pattern that I'm repeating. Beat 1, 2, 3, 4. So beat 2 and 4, I'm coming up to that D string. So this is my thumb pattern a majority of the time, not always, but most of the time when I have any chord with the root on the 6th string, my thumb has now been trained to do that pattern, okay? So it's not just going to work on G. I could be on a completely different chord shape somewhere else. If it's a 6-string root chord, I know I can use that pattern. Okay? So let's look at a 5th string root pattern next. Why don't we take C major? Okay, just open position here, C major. So when I play this form of a C major, my root is on the 5th string. So this is where a 5th string root pattern is going to work well. I'm going to go like this. Start on the 5th string, start on the root that is, then go to the 4th string. Now I'm going to drop to the 6th string. My ring finger is going to drop down on the left hand to help catch that G note. That's beat 3, and then thumb back on the 4th string on beat 4. So it would be like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. This is just my simple alternating bass pattern, 5th string root. Okay? And then let's look at a 4th string root pattern for a second. That would be, let's say, a shape like a D shape of some kind. In this case, I'm going to play D7. Okay, where the root is on the 4th string. So what I do here is I move my hand up a string. I'm going to go 4th string, 3rd string, 5th string, 3rd string. I'll do it again. I'll just loop it. That's the 4th string root pattern. Okay, so we did 3 types of patterns. A 6-string root, which sounds like this on G. Then we did a 5th string root with a C. I did a 4th string root on a D7. Back to G, a 6th string root. Okay, so it doesn't sound like a complete song yet. We're getting there, okay? But this is extremely important because something that a lot of people struggle with getting into fingerstyle, especially the boom chick alternating bass style, is what we a lot of times call thumb independence or finger independence, where your thumb's doing one thing and your fingers are doing something completely different. Like maybe the thumb is playing a bass line and chords, fingers are playing a melody. And so the patterns like this are a great way to get into that. Okay, so let's do this. If you want to try to play along, I'm just going to do 2 bars on each chord. I'll loop that a few times, and then we're going to start adding in our fingers next, okay, to play some patterns. So let's just try the alternating bass. 2 bars of G, 2 bars of C, 2 bars of D7. Back to 2 bars of G. That'll give us 8 bars. Let's try it. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I'm going to C next. D7. Back to G. Let's do that one more time. 3, 4, G. Then C. Okay, then I'm going to D7. So hopefully you tried that out with me. If you've done some fingerstyle before, that's going to be easy. If you've never done it, that is actually surprisingly a lot harder than it seems. And just wait till we add in the fingers. You'll see it's a challenge, but this is the way to do it. Anybody can play fingerstyle. You just have to go slow. You got to learn some techniques first. And the cool thing is these type of patterns will work on virtually any chord in any key. And they'll work on any type of guitar. I saw a question come in like, do this stuff work on electric guitars? This will work on nylon strings, acoustics, electrics. It's just a transferable technique. Okay, so up next, we're gonna add in our fingers to start doing some rhythmic patterns. I'm gonna use my index finger, my middle finger, and my ring finger. And I'm going to put my index finger on the G string, that's the third string. Middle finger on the second string, that's the B string. And my ring finger up on the E string, the first string. So they're going to be assigned to those strings for the G chord, the sixth string root, and the C chord, the fifth string root. We'll come back and talk about the D chord in a minute, what we're going to do there. So let's just stick with G and C for a moment. So what we're going to do now, and this is something kind of fun you can do if you're getting into this, choose any beat you want, beat 1, 2, 3, or 4, that we're going to play the fingers along with the thumb. I call this a pinch. Okay, it's kind of a pinching motion. So, for example, what if we were to pinch on beat 1? The thumb is always playing every beat. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm saying pinch with your fingers and thumb just on beat 1, and then maybe let it sustain while your thumb keeps going. I'm going to do that now through the same progression. And actually, what I'm going to do is, how about just vamp 2 bars of G, 2 bars of C, 2 bars of G, 2 bars of C, back and forth. So I'm pinching on beat 1. Let's try that. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then I'm going to C. Back to G. Back to C. 2 bars. See, I'm pinching on beat 1. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And so on. Okay? So that's pinching on beat 1. Let's choose another beat. Okay? I'm going to choose beat 3. So my thumb, again, is never stopping, but now I'm just going to put those fingers on beat 3. Again, if you've already done this kind of thing, it's going to be a breeze. If you've never done it, be patient. It's going to take some practice. But let's try to do that again. Vamping, 2 bars on G, 2 bars on C, alternating bass, pinch on beat 3. So let's try it. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Then C. Again, G. That's 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. And so on. I'll just do it a few more times. Hopefully someone out there is playing along with this. Let's try one more. Let's go with beat 4, okay? Same thing. Pinch on beat 4 this time. Same progression is what I mean. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then change. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Back to G. C. Okay, good. So hopefully you see the idea. This is one stage of patterns to practice. After you can do the thumb with the 3 alternating patterns, then the next step would be doing a pinch on a single beat, okay? And if you really want to, you could just do this with 1 finger at a time. You could make your own iterations of these patterns. For now, I'm just keeping these 3 together, okay? So let's do a little bit more with this. The next stage after you do a 1 beat pinch is to do 2 beats, okay? Choose 2 different beats in the bar you're going to pinch on. So I think a really natural one to do is pinch on beat 2 and 4. Okay? I'm going to pinch on beat 2 and 4. I'll just vamp again. G, C, G, C. 2 bars each. 1, 2, 3, 4. More times. G. Then I'm going to C. Okay, let's try two other beats to pinch on. Remember, the thumb should never stop. It's not this. Thumb, fingers, thumb, fingers. A lot of people will start to do that. You want to keep the thumb going every time. So it's thumb, pinch, thumb, pinch. This is what we're trying to train the thumb to keep going. All right, let's pinch on, let's say, beat 2 and 3. Okay? Pinch on 2 and 3, same vamp. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1. And so on. So that's the next stage of patterns. You could do pinch on 2 and 4, 2 and 3, 1 and 2, 1 and 3, 1 and 4. You should try these out. These are things that I remember practicing with Buster B. Jones, and you actually can even turn these into a tune, which I'm going to show you how to take one of those patterns, and I'll show you an example where I took a pattern and I turned it into a tune. Oh, Tommy's been practicing there. I see. How's it going, Tommy?
I have, man. I'm enjoying this. This is a great tutorial. You guys could tell how good of an educator Brooks is. If you haven't taken or checked out any of his courses or his channel, you could just see how patient, how calm, how simplified he makes some of these very complex things in fingerstyle. I'm really enjoying it, Brooks. So thanks, man.
Excellent.
Yeah, do you want to roll a performance for a little quick musical break? I'm sure folks would enjoy that. You want to?
We can, yeah. This is cool. This is from a course I did called Essentials. It's 10 tunes that all are actually mostly all in the boom chick style. It's Essentials boom chick etudes is the course we did. Tommy, you know
Perfect.
because you were there to film the whole thing.
I was
Uh,
there.
but yeah, I took 10 tunes and made simple arrangements. They're not really crazy hard. They're actually a good stepping stone. And so this is a little arrangement of Careless Love. And it uses, if you watch it, hopefully you're watching it. Check out the thumb. It's doing the same thing we just did. So yeah, Tommy, you can roll that whenever you want.
Let's check it out.
1, 2, 3, 4. Great.
There it is. That's sort of
Exactly.
like that's the evolution of some of the things we're working on right now. You know,
Absolutely. Yep. And those tunes in that course are built around the idea of let's work on some songs that utilize that boom chick technique. Yeah, and so working on patterns is huge. Um, Tommy, am I good to just do a little more on patterns for a bit?
yeah. I'm gonna turn it
Okay.
back over to you right
All
now,
right.
man.
Great.
Take it away.
So yeah, that's a little inspiration. That's a course you can check out. That is definitely something that's in the next steps. Once you get some techniques under your belt, you gotta work on some tunes. It's going to be fun that way too. You don't want to just do exercises and techniques, but they are extremely important. That's why I'm going over it with you. So let's now talk about adding a little syncopation. Syncopation is when we're going to play in between the beat. So far, everything we just did is on the beat. So you can make your own patterns really with this if you want to get creative. So I could think, hey, which beats do I want to play between? Let's say I want to play between beat 3 and 4. So what I mean play between, I'm going to use my fingers to play those top 3 strings on an upbeat somewhere. And I'm talking about the upbeat between beat 3 and 4. So it would sound like this: 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Here's C. 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. There's just vamping again. So I'm adding the fingers on the upbeat of B3. 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay? So again, you got to get creative with this. There are so many iterations you can do. I just chose some random beat to do an upbeat with the fingers. Okay? I see some questions, like a question came in about palm muting. So this is great. I actually want to talk about this. I tend to play with 3 positions when I play. Okay? One of them is called palm muting. Let's talk about that. I was just doing a little bit of it. Something you hear guys like Merle Travis, Chet Atkins, Jerry Reed, Tommy Emmanuel, and a lot of players do this. I'm taking my palm opposite of my thumb, okay, on my picking hand, this side over here, the side where the pinky finger is. I'm going to use this part of my palm to set down on the saddle, okay? The saddle is what the strings are resting on. And I'm going to set that down right on the saddle. I'm really aiming for the bottom 3 strings. And sometimes I also cover up maybe the 3rd string, the G string a little bit too. And this gives you a different tone. So here's no palm muting, just the thumb. I'll go a little faster with the thumb. Okay, that's no palm muting. Here's the palm muting. Totally different tone. I didn't change anything about the notes or the rhythm. So no palm muting with the palm muting. Okay, so this is a great way to get an additional tone, and it's really common, as I said, with a lot of great fingerstyle players to do palm muting. So again, you're setting that part of your palm right here on the bottom 3 or 4 strings right on the saddle. The farther you go this way towards the neck, the less real note you're going to get. It's just kind of a percussive thing. So you got to find the sweet spot, and I find it's usually right back on the saddle where you're getting the note you want, but also that palm mute. Okay, so let's do this. I'm going to show you a completely different pattern for a moment. I mean, there are so many patterns you could do, and I was trying to demonstrate you can make up your own patterns. Just keep the thumb going, try pinching on different beats, try adding some syncopation. Let me show you now a really common folk picking pattern. Okay, this one I call common folk. It's from a course I did with TrueFire called 30 Finger Picking Patterns You Must Know. It's based around the alternating bass. Okay, it's a 1-bar pattern. I'm going to play it for you on a C chord, and then I'll tell you what I'm doing here, okay? And I'll do palm muting because I can. I like that tone. Let's do that, palm muting. So here's the 1-bar pattern. I'm going to repeat it. Okay, here's what's happening. Thumb is doing a 5th string root pattern. 5, 4, 6, 4, 5, 4, 6, 4. That's the thumb's job. Here's what's happening in the pattern. Beat 1, I'm playing thumb and middle together. That's a pinch. Middle finger's on the B string, index is going to be on the G string. So thumb and middle together. Beat 1. Beat 2 is the thumb. The and of beat 2 is the G string open. Beat 3, my thumb comes down to the 6th string. The and of beat 3 is the middle finger. And then beat 4, thumb. So it's 1, 2, and 3, and 4. One, 2, and 3, and 4. So again, right now, just using thumb, middle, and index only for this pattern. Okay, and what we can do with this, I'll play you the example. Actually, you know what? No, I'm taking that back. Let me just vamp on C for a moment, so I'll give you a chance to try it. And at any point, Tommy, if you want to, you could find that common folk picking pattern. Maybe we can like display the first bar or something. But I'm gonna loop this C chord for a moment, okay, with that pattern. So it's 1, 2, and 3, and 4. 1, 2, and 3, and 4. 1, 2, and 3, and 4. 1, 2, and 3, and there we go. Nice. Tommy, if I don't know if it's possible to zoom in on bar 1. Yeah, I'm playing bar 1 right now. I'm looping it. A couple more bars of that. Let's just... Okay, cool. So Tommy, I'll have you maybe go back to me and then we'll share that again in a moment. So the thing with picking patterns is that they will work on, as I said earlier, virtually any chord. You have to try and try these in different keys. Try them with different chord progressions, okay? First, you learn it with one chord. And at first, it doesn't sound that impressive, even though it's hard to do. You can do impressive things with it later by plugging it in across a chord progression. Maybe you add some embellishments into that. Pretty soon you could have like a melody and a tune going on. So to demonstrate that, what I'm going to do is take the same pattern and I'm going to plug it into a progression. I'm not going to change the pattern at all, okay? But I'm going to change the chords. It sounds like this, a little faster to make you excited, okay? Okay, I got a little carried away at the end, but that's this common folk pattern. So let me show you what I did real quickly. I'll say this too. I'm going to demonstrate several patterns. Tommy and I will tell you about where you can find some of these PDFs later to print out and that kind of thing. So we have the chords here, C, which is a 5th string root. Then I did this E7 form. That's like a 6th string root form. I'm saying that so your thumb knows where to start. C to E7, then A minor. That's a 5th string root, so my thumb's doing my 5, 4, 6, 4. Yeah, Tommy can pull that up too. These are the chords there. Then after the A minor is going to be A7. Yeah, right now we're just kind of looking at the chord shapes and forms. Then we've got this D7 over F sharp, which means a D7 chord with an F sharp bass note. And then finally I go to this G form, this G7. Okay. I'm going to walk through those once more. And maybe, Tommy, if you can show just that top, maybe those diagrams on the top. Perfect. Okay, so let's do C. It's our first chord in the sequence. And then we're doing E7. Then we've got A minor. Okay, then A7, followed by D7 over F sharp, a couple bars there, to a G7. This one says G7, no third, it's just G7. And then I pick up my pinky finger, I use the open B after that to play that last G7 variation. Okay, so basically I'm applying that 1-bar pattern over this chord sequence. I'll do it again just so you can see it. I'll go slow. I mean, this is something you've got to practice and of course find the transcription to work on, which we'll tell you where that is. But here it is again. I'm going to go slow and I'm going to play it through that sequence a few times. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and... D7, A minor, A7, okay, D7 over F sharp, 2 bars, to G7, then I vary it a little bit, still G7, then I repeat, C, E7, A minor, A7, D7 over F sharp, one more time, I won't talk. Again, when you really speed it up, I'll speed it up. So the last time there, I just took the same chords, played them in a different place, same pattern. So there is so much you can do with this, but again, picking patterns are a real gateway to getting into fingerstyle, is what I'm trying to show you. So let me just show you a completely different pattern for a minute, okay? I know for some I may be going quick, others maybe not so much. Let's look at a completely different pattern, okay? Because it's not just about thumb picking, although I love doing thumb picking, and it's not going to hurt anybody to learn some thumb picking. It will just benefit your technique, even if you're not going to be strictly a thumb picking player. Here's a different pattern completely. Let's work on this. This is kind of a Jerry Reed inspired pattern. This is the rhythmic pattern that Reed uses on the intro of one of his tunes called Bluesland. Let me just play you the actual intro of the tune. Then I'm going to show you the pattern over some simplified chords for a minute. So here's the intro. It goes like this. I'm just kind of looping it. It's this sound. This is kind of the pattern. Okay, so this is a cool pattern. I mean, I've also heard Reed do this, Jerry Reed, when he plays a tune called Hallelujah, I Love Her So, he does a similar pattern. So let's do this. Let's take a B minor 7. I'm going to use this form of like a 5th string root B minor 7. But remember, these will work on any chords you want, any key. You just have to try experimenting. Okay, so here's the pattern now, completely different, no alternating bass. I'm going to go thumb on beat 1. Then I'm going to use index middle ring. Now I put my index middle ring on the 4th, 3rd, 2nd string. I kind of moved them down a string here. So I'm going thumb, index middle ring, play together. That's the upbeat of beat 1. 1 and. Then I'm actually going to click down with my fingernails gently on the strings, okay? I'm going to just kind of click down with the back of my fingernails right down the strings. Now I don't want to open my hand or anything because I'm going to have to get back and play those strings again. But it's like this. 1 and 2 is my click, and then the upbeat of beat 2 is the thumb, not the thumb, excuse me, the fingers again. So 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and it's essentially like a 2-beat pattern. Okay, and the way I was just playing it, how I like to use it a lot, is with swing 8th notes. Okay, so let's just vamp on B minor 7 there for a minute with that pattern. I'll just loop it. Nice, Tommy, you got it there. Good. Yeah, I'm just playing bar 1 there. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. You could even be on a different set of strings. That's the same chord, just a different set of strings. I'm just moving the pattern around different sets of strings. Same chord. Okay, so even though I'm demonstrating it on these four, you can move it around and do a lot with it. Okay, let's look at the next chord we're going to plug it in over. This is a C sharp minor 7 flat 5, also known as C sharp half diminished. Okay, so I've got C sharp, G, B, E. Now I'm going to vamp on that chord, same pattern. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And yeah, right now I'm just remaining on that C sharp. And then we're going to put one more chord into our sequence here to practice this. This is an F sharp 7 with a flat 13 on top there. Okay, so my notes are F sharp, E, A sharp, D. And I've got my ring, middle, and index on the 2nd, 3rd, 4th string, thumbs down on the 6th string. So we're not on 4 adjacent strings, but that's okay. So let's vamp it on that F sharp chord. So again, this can work on any chords you want to apply it to, but we're just doing it through these 3 chords. B minor 7, that's our 1 minor 7. Then we got C sharp, minor 7 flat 5, that's 2 minor 7 flat 5, in the key of B. Then we got an F sharp 7, the 5 dominant 7, back to 1. Okay, so it's gonna be, if we play this example I have got written out for you, 1 bar of B minor 7, 2 beats only here of the C sharp half diminished, 2 beats of the F sharp 7. Okay, so I'm just going to vamp this for a moment. I'll do it slowly, and then I'm sure that Tommy will share us the transcription here as we get going. So here we go, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Now C sharp minor, F sharp 7. It kind of goes quick, doesn't it? Two more times, then I'll show you what it sounds like sped up a little bit. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing a little bit faster, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4. A little variation there. Doing the same chords, just a little bit different voicing. Okay, so again, this is like a Jerry Reed style groove pattern he does, and he might then sing over the top of it, or maybe just use that as an intro to a tune. There's so many ways you can use these. That could be an accompaniment part. Then Tommy comes in and he does a blazing solo over the top of that, right? Or sings or something, right? But again, it's just another type of technique to get into, and we could probably come up with 1,000 different patterns to practice. But I'm just giving you a couple here to be exposed to.
I had to put my guitar down because you have me working so hard over here
Hmm.
behind the scenes with the
That's fair.
visuals and all of that. So, but I'm really enjoying this. I'm sure the folks out there are as well. Uh, Everyone, let us know if you're enjoying the format, a little bit more interactive, having a lot of fun, actually doing some playing through these exercises. I think this is great. I had a couple of questions.
Yeah.
A couple came in, and you actually answered one of them, which was about the muting with the right hand
Mm.
palm. How much is using the metronome important when you're practicing this type of stuff? Is that critical? Do you recommend
Mm.
it? Talk a
Yeah,
little.
I would recommend it, but I would say, and I tell people a lot too, you got to just be able to get the pattern down and memorized first without it. Don't try using the metronome after you just did learn the pattern and you're kind of shaky on it. I would say work on first of all any pattern, try memorizing it. Most of the time it's like one bar or something. So it's if you can break it down into that small chunk and just memorize it is huge. Be able to, do whatever pattern it is over one or two chords simply roughly in time first, like you want to be able to kind of do it on your own. Then working with a metronome is great. Absolutely. Yep. And any of these patterns, you learn them first on one chord. You go for accuracy, you go for like good tone and getting it clean. But then speed it up. Try it over some different chords. Try it with a metronome. Try it with a drum groove. Absolutely, Tommy. Yeah, and you remind me to something else I want to talk about because I said earlier I play in three different positions, and then I just showed one, and I went on. So uh, I want to talk about the other two positions for a second. Okay, so palm muting is one thing we do. That's very common. It gives you a certain sound that you can get by palm muting. It's a nice separation with palm muting because you get the bass notes or bass voices there, strings, are a different tone than the upper treble strings, which are ringing out. So that's one great thing about palm muting. But what are those other two positions that I use a lot? One of them, I don't know the technical term, I call it floating my hand. Meaning, if I turn a little bit here, instead of laying down the hand here for palm muting, I'm going to let my hand kind of float on top of the guitar. I am touching back here with my forearm, but I'm not really resting my whole arm anywhere. This really helps the top of the guitar vibrate even more, and it really helps things sustain. The other thing that's really important about this is it allows you to very easily move in this direction. Well, why would you want to do that? It's all about tone. So let me demonstrate for a second. Here's something I might do with a floating technique and sound. Just a little example. So, a tune like that where I want things to ring out and sustain, and I'm going to use that floating technique. It's a different sound. And again, if you're up here by the neck, it's a much warmer, richer sound. Versus back by the bridge, it's a totally different sound. So, if you haven't ever explored that, you got to unlock these different tones you can get just by using your hand. So the floating technique is nice because things sustain. and you can really move around to pull out different tones. So I use that a lot, and I'm going to show you that pattern in a moment. The third way that I play came from, learning from Buster B. Jones. These are all positions he showed me. But he would play a lot where he would take his hand and rest his forearm and everything on the top of the guitar. And he would even let this part of his palm hit the sixth string a little bit. Now, well, why do you do that? Well, what does it sound like? So let me play you like a little funky picking pattern where I'm anchored here. So anchoring here, it does a couple of things. It actually kind of dampens the top of the guitar a little bit, so things don't sustain quite as much. It really allows you to kind of get a different, what's the word I'm looking for? Some different leverage where you can pop the strings. When I want to get funkier and really pop the strings, I want to use this technique where I put the whole entire hand down on the top like that, and I can really dig in and pop the strings. Okay, so when I'm trying to dig in and be a little bit funkier, I use this a lot. So I would say, as you're learning some patterns and that kind of thing in tunes, try experimenting with palm muting, floating, moving back and forth here, different tone, and even anchoring on top to really dig into the strings a bit. Okay, so I'm glad that some of you are asking about these things. How we doing, Tommy?
I'm doing great. We're running out of time. So I just wanted to ask a couple more quick questions, real quick. A
Of
couple
course.
times we've heard you playing. It sounds like you're extending the thumb stroke down beyond just the
Yes.
target. What's
Yep.
that about? Tell us about that real quick.
Yeah, thanks for asking. So I think of this as more of a Merle Travis type of thing, and I often call it a heavy thumb. And especially I do this on quite a few tunes where I'm doing the alternating kind of boom chick, is that especially on beats 2 and 4, which is the backbeat, if you can imagine like a snare drum in a basic drum groove, that beat 2 and 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, that really helps establish the groove and make things feel good within, that 4 beat pattern. So what I'll do a lot on my thumb, especially like when I was playing one of those tunes a minute ago, this one, I'm still alternating as we did, 1 hour ago, like this. But on 2 and 4, beat 2 and 4, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, I'm going to let my thumb drive up and hit not only the D string, which is what it's really aiming for, but it's going to brush up and get a little bit of the G string. Maybe it even gets a little bit of the B string. If you wanted, you could brush all the way to the E string. So it helps kind of just really solidify the groove. I think it sounds a little bit more funky. Plus, you get a little bit more of the chord sound a lot of the time. So this is something I do often when thumb picking, is really drive that thumb to hit more than one string. Yeah, and it could even be on beat 1 or 3. It could be more of a bass string you brush more than one. There I'm hitting like 2 or 3 strings every time. So it's just a different sound. And I'm so happy you asked about that, Tommy. A lot of players do this way. Not everybody plays perfectly clean. It's got a certain sound. Sometimes it's good to kind of drive it a bit.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Sounds amazing. I hope that you all have been convinced. This is all doable, right? I mean, the things that you're showing are pattern based, right? So
Hmm.
if you take a little bit of time and work the pattern slowly, and then you're showing how you can move that pattern around to a few different chords, and pretty soon it sounds like you're playing fingerstyle guitar. So thank you,
Absolutely.
Brooks. The way you teach and you distilled this stuff down in such a great way for everyone. I wanted to quickly, as we wrap up, let's
Hmm.
talk about your courses and the channel because some folks were asking about where the tabs will get
Yep.
posted. You want to
Sure.
take? Can we? I could show a little bit of the your educator page, and we could talk about
Sure.
the channel a little bit. You want to do that?
Yeah, that's fine. And it's funny how these things go. I think I got through about 5% of the examples that I intended to do with all of you tonight. That's just how it goes. I wanted to get into talking about banjo rolls and maybe some chord type of things. But again, when you're getting into fingerstyle, I'm not saying any of you need to do the exact way that I play, but it's about just learning some techniques first is huge, okay? Work on some techniques. That could be maybe you're really into wanting to learn classical, learn some common like classical techniques. Or you wanting to get into Jerry Reed style, you got to learn some Jerry Reed style picking patterns. So learn some techniques first. And then again, it's important to try to learn some basic tunes. Um, then you're off to the races. But it's definitely doable. It just takes time, it takes practice, it takes some patience, and you might be looking for some good courses. So now Tommy's pulling up. I've been fortunate to do a lot of great courses over the years with TrueFire, and the first one I did was called the Fingerstyle Survival Guide, and we went through I think like 15 techniques that are really essential fingerstyle techniques, and then we did about 5 or 8 tunes or something that use some of those techniques. So that's a cool course to check out, Fingerstyle Survival Guide. In no particular order, another one that I think is really good if you're just starting out is one we did called 30 Finger Picking Patterns You Must Know. We did 1 or 2 patterns from the course there. I think Common Folk is in there in the Jerry Reed one. But that's 30 different patterns. I show each one, here's the pattern, and then I just show you, hey, let's try it over these chords. But you could take those and do anything you want with them. And then a couple other courses we've done that have more songs in them is like the Boom Chick Take Five is kind of an entry level into Boom Chick and some simple songs, and then the Essentials Boom Chick Etudes is like 10 songs that are a little bit more challenging maybe than the Take Five ones, but they're like beginning intermediate. If you've got some patterns under your belt and you can do some alternating bass, then they give you some songs to work on,
Yeah,
which is fun.
there's a nice progression there, right? Like
Yeah.
if you start with some of the simpler stuff from the finger picking patterns, which will be a lot like what we worked on today in the session, that kind of builds the dexterity, like you said, the finger independence, independence. Same thing with the boom chick. You're progressively getting a little bit more and more sophisticated as you go. Then you can start to work into some of the more complex or more song style etudes.
Hmm.
So yeah, everyone, if you haven't yet, the link is in the description. Make sure you go hit that link, check it out. That's the link that I'm showing here on the screen. This is like Brooks' little mini site on TrueFire, and it's all about Brooks. The other thing that we should tell folks about is your channel.
Yeah.
Tell them about that really quickly.
Right. So the channel is cool. I mean, a lot of great artists have channels on TrueFire you can check out, whether that's Frank Vignola or Cheryl Bailey or John Knowles or Zinka or Tommy Emmanuel. But the channel is cool. It's like self-produced videos. I've been doing that now for maybe the last 4 or 5 years. I'm up to over 500 video lessons. And so the channel is cool. It's something you subscribe to. You can unsubscribe anytime you want, but I've got all kinds of stuff in there from techniques, beginning to advanced fingerstyle, finger picking techniques, banjo rolls, harp harmonics, picking patterns. I've also got a pretty good chunk of information about theory and harmony and, understanding chord progressions and tunes and writing stuff. I've got a big section all about chords and, learning chord inversions, chord shapes. And then I think I'm up to probably about 25 or 30 songs that I've taught. Some are easy, some are really challenging songs. Some are slow, beautiful ballads, some are like rippin' Buster B. Jones tunes. So I
Nice.
have those in there. And another cool thing with the channel There's videos, there's transcriptions of everything. You can even write in comments and questions, and I go in there, several times a week to reply to people. And what we've been doing the last few years is every Saturday we have a group Zoom practice session. It's open to anyone in the channel,
That's
and
killer.
we do different techniques, we do different tunes. Like this weekend, we're doing an open mic where people can come play something. I'm going to play a few things. So the channel is really fun. It's interactive. It's got a lot of stuff on there, so you can check that out. And in the channel, I'm glad you brought this up, Tommy. I'm gonna make a folder on the top of my channel. It will be public. You don't have to be a subscriber, but I'm gonna put some of the materials we talked about and some of the ones we didn't get to. I'm gonna put those there in the channel that you can find it. And I've also got a list of, I don't know, 75 or 100 of my favorite fingerstyle players I think are worth checking out. I'll put that in there too. So there'll be some picking patterns and some things. I'll make a way. I haven't done it yet, but right where Tommy is, there'll be a folder in my channel that you can all find some of these materials.
Yeah, so that's right here. Everyone, I highly recommend it. Not just because we're here with products, right? But because it really is a valuable experience. Getting that guidance. If you really are into learning fingerstyle guitar, this is the guy to do it with, right? I mean, obviously you got a great way of teaching. The channel is an awesome option. The courses are awesome options, and it helps support Brooks, and that's a great thing too. So we love to help you guys out wherever we can. Our artists are central to everything that we do here at TrueFire. So that's awesome, man.
Thanks,
And
Tommy.
I hope you all will support Brooks however you can. Um, you mentioned in the very beginning of this show
Yeah,
how fingerstyle can take a lot of different shapes. It can be incorporated in a lot of different styles. We
sure.
had one more performance from one of the courses. Do you want to set that one up and roll it as
Sure.
like as a
As a
close?
goodbye.
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah, so one of the courses that I did here with TrueFire a couple of years back was all about banjo rolls, which is a really common technique within fingerstyle. And I did a course all about banjo rolls. It's called Fingerstyle Rolls. And I taught some different basic techniques, and then I wrote some songs that use those techniques. It was a lot of fun. And Tommy's going to roll a clip here of one of the tunes. It is called Backward Funk. It uses a backward roll. So he'll end you with that. And thanks everybody for tuning in. I'll go on my channel there and make that folder in the next 24 hours. It should be up there. I'll work on doing that tonight. And if anyone has any additional questions, just reach out to me um, through TrueFire or through my website, brooksrobertson.com or fingerpickinglessons.com. And yeah, this has been fun. Like I said, I only got to about 5% of what I wanted to, but hopefully you learned a little something, and I had a good time, that's for sure.
Thanks so much, Brooks.
Thanks,
Hopefully
Tommy.
we'll
Good
see you
seeing
again.
you.
We got to do this again. This is
Yeah,
awesome. All right, everyone. Thank you for your time. Hope you enjoyed it. We'll see you on the next one. Let's roll that sweet backward funk performance. Here we go.